Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Two topics we're going to be talking about today. The first, we're going to talk briefly about Clear Linux. I will not be able to show you what the distro actually looks like. Use your imagination. It's GNOME. Nothing actually special other than that. But we're going to go into some of the other things that I think are worthy of knowing about it. Now, why are we not going to see screenshots? Well, yeah, therein lies the tale. In order to test it out on a virtual machine, you need VirtualBox 6. This computer runs VirtualBox 5, and I cannot update it because I have a lot of real production stuff on here I cannot risk breaking. I decided, well, let's go ahead and throw it on the Arch system. There's something about Arch Labs. It's reporting the wrong kernel headers, and so I just cannot get the kernel headers for VirtualBox working. It keeps on wanting to try installing VirtualBox kernel headers for version 5, and I have 4.19 on there. So it's not worth my time to figure out how to do it. I thought, I could always throw a different distro on there, maybe a Manjaro or something, get everything running. I could do that, but we really need to see what the distro looks like. I can do that down the road and have another video just looking at it. For the end user's perspective, it is nothing other than a basic GNOME. In fact, if you didn't know what it was, you would probably think it was Fedora. That's about what it looks like. So it has your basic GNOME components. It's running GNOME 3.32.2. It is very fast. It is very snappy. I'm not going to say any more than that because I'm not recording yet. How's everybody doing today? We'll start into this and then I'll dive into the intro to that video and I'll tell you about stuff like that. So, greetings everybody. We have Loopy, says he'll be late. Not sure if he's here yet. Greetings, Q1 Fiend. Yeah, we've been missing you on the Thursday show. Hopefully you can make it tomorrow. I'm not going to read through any of the political commentary. I don't care. Paul, greetings there. Hello, STS. Greetings, Steve. Hello there. Franz, hello to you. Hello, everyone. Use GnuCash for home banking or accounting. I use GnuCash for one of my businesses. I have QuickBooks on one and I have GnuCash on the other business. And so I can kind of really tell you about the differences, the pros, the cons of each one of them. I have heard of home banking. I have not had a chance to look at it. As I mentioned in the Peppermint video, I actually am extraordinarily happy doing my personal banking on spreadsheets. For me, that's what I like. Way back in the day, we're going back almost 20 years at this point. I actually used Microsoft Money. I think it was version 5, maybe. I think I still have it. Whatever version of Microsoft Money was packed with Windows 90 or with Microsoft Office 95. I actually liked that program back then. So it'd be really neat. I think I might like looking at some of the Linux tools, but really I've been doing my accounting on spreadsheets for a long time. And my spreadsheets are well developed, so that's why I use that. Let's see. Okay. I think Serge used Home Bank, or at least knows a lot about it. I know he was pointing some links out to somebody in the Peppermint video, so I really do want to look at it sometime. Right, let's see. Just, okay. Let's see. Are you talking to me or STS? Not sure. All right. My email is on the channel. You can find it. Yes. Okay. Voice people argue after streams. Tom is stroking the cat like Dr. Evil waiting for 7 o'clock. Right, kitty? Oh, he ran away. Where'd he go? I don't know where the kitty went. Kitty ran off. Who's that guy from Inspector Gadget? Yeah, actually, the guy from Inspector Gadget was, if you actually look at Inspector Gadget, it actually has, it is an amalgam of literally every other spy movie. James Bond, Get Smart, of course, is the guy who voiced Inspector Gadget. I forget what that actor's name is. There's so many overlaps into it. It's really cool. Let's see. Yeah, Penny. Yep. Okay. UK Beast, hello there. Snap. Yeah, internet at home is currently derp. Isn't it always derp? Watch on cellular data. All right, I'll meter that thing down. Meter that thing down. Don't use all your data unless you have, no cap. But Verizon, by the way, a couple brief updates to Verizon. They are no longer supporting. They used to have a home internet that was unlimited for, it was like $60 a month or something. That just ended abruptly, I think 2 weeks ago. And as at the end of this year, they are doing away with CDMA. So all you guys on Verizon 3G flip phones, they will completely stop working by the end of this year. They're going to a GSM, which is good in the fact that now pretty much any cell phone would work on pretty much any carrier. That's the good news. The bad news is if you're used to all those old things, then, you know, sorry. Start looking at other stuff. Hopefully we'll have a couple pure Linux phone options by then. Greetings, Pizza. How's it going there? Snap has 3 goats. Sweet. Newest one, Reese, is a bit scared. Well, just stop showing Reese pictures of Asia Pie. He's thinking, my cups are in there. You know. Greetings, Metal Lord. How's it going? KO2610. Hello there. Next video should be Shotcut versus Olive versus Kane Live. I've never used Olive. I'm interested in the Clear Linux. All right, we will be doing Clear Linux first. Hello, Sleepy. Greetings to you. Keegan, hello there. Statistics prof looks and sounds like he could be related to you. Last name is Minnick. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Valentino, hello. Saw Kitty Cam. Had to check out the live stream. Well, welcome, Mitchell. How's it going there? Okay, if you just jumped on, we're going to be doing Clear Linux in just a few minutes. When I get to the bottom of the comments, unless it never ends, then I'll put an end to it somewhere and come back to it later. And then we're going to take another comment break, and then we're going to go and do the GnuCash intro. I spent like way too many hours last night playing around with some more advanced features of GnuCash in preparation for this. I'm excited. I'm actually, man, GnuCash is so much more powerful. There is a limitation. We'll talk about that when we get close to it. Here, Clear Linux is missing H.264. I saw GStreamer in the repo. I'm not sure if it has H.264 or not. My overall overwhelming opinion of Clear Linux right now is burn it with fire, but we'll get into that. Okay, recently considering GnuCash. Good timing, very good. I'm bored of my distro, but I'm bored of distro hopping. Went to try Mac OS working on my system. There you go. Thomas Holt, hello, and meow to CJ. CJ, Thomas Holt says meow. I don't know where CJ is right now. He started in the kitty cam here. Greetings from Iraq. Well, greetings, Iraq. Hello, welcome. Hungry Guy, suggestion, get yourself a PC with a removable driver bays. I already have a PC with removable driver bays. Let me turn on the kitty cam. Sorry, there will not be a kitty on it, but let's see if I can get this thing down there. Where's it at? There we are. There, okay, you can kind of see there's my 2 driver bays up there at the front. That's my flashlight. So that is an IC dock that supports both 3.5 and 2.5 inch drives. So that's what I use to swap things out in and out. So it's pretty sweet. I'm doing well today. Clock Krifkin, did I say that right? I don't know. I can do Dr. Claw's voice. Oh, I haven't not seen Inspector Gadget for a long time. Reminders are worthless. How long have I been live? I've been live for 10 minutes and we have not gotten into the topic yet. We will be getting into the topic in just a moment. Why are so many interested in Clear Linux? It's kind of came out of nowhere, and we'll kind of talk about that. Arco running, very cool. Clear Linux would only work on Intel hardware. No, it's running on AMD. Okay, drooling about today's subject, GnuCash. Yeah, we'll be doing Clear Linux, and then we'll be doing GnuCash after that. Hello, Loopy. Greetings. Loopy made it before we even started. Very good. I mined several years ago, Pentium. All right, we're going to put our comments there. We're going to go ahead and roll on over to our, let's see, whoop, I need my main title first. Then we'll go over to our web browser. There we are. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Linux. Well, I had a lot of requests to look at Clear Linux. Now, there's a little bit of discrepancy. There's a Clear Linux and there's a Clear OS. I'm not sure which ones people were mostly asking about. But Clear Linux has come out of the woodwork into kind of blowing up pretty big all of a sudden. Infinity Galactic, I think yesterday, did a video saying, is this the next Ubuntu? Definitely check out his video. He's able to show you a lot of the what the distribution looks like. I'm not going to show you that today. There's a couple quick reasons. To get it running, you need to run it on VirtualBox 6 if you're doing it on a virtual machine. This computer has Virtual Machine 5, and I cannot update it right now due to some of the production that I need to be doing on it, and I just can't have it risking breaking. I thought then about going on and installing VirtualBox 6 onto my Arch system, but Arch Labs has something goofy with the kernels, and it keeps on trying to install the wrong kernel headers, and so VirtualBox won't run over there. So I installed it onto a USB drive, and I said, well, let's run it on some bare metal. Can't get any software to install on it. So I could not install any screen recorders. Simple Screen Recorder is not in the repo. GUC View, whatever that is, View is not in the repos. OBS is the only one in the repos. That would not install. Nothing else would install in the system. So with that, now some of that doesn't mean it's a bad distribution. It just means that, you know, something somewhere in the configuration is messed up, and it was a full workday today. I only had a limited amount of time to get working. But I finally said, you know, I'm not going to spend any more time on this. If you've seen GNOME, you've seen this distribution. It's really not any different. It has, under the hood, there are some things that are quite a bit different about it. As far as the user perspective, the end basic desktop home user, it's going to be a distribution that is ground up. So it's not based on Debian and not based on Arch, not based on Solus, not based on Ubuntu, not based on anything else. It's its own thing. It's completely built ground up. All of the software in it are curated, but they also support flat packs as well. And the system itself, it runs on GNOME 3.32.2. It runs very snappy. It was taking 1.6 gigs of RAM when I tested it, and it did run very well, very snappy. Of course, that's on this system with a Ryzen 5. That raises the point. This is a distribution that is most streamlined for use with Intel hardware. I was running it on my Ryzen 5. It did seem to run fine, other than that whole could not install software, which I'll look into why that is. Could be a variety of different things, and I just didn't have the opportunity to troubleshoot it. But we're going to talk about some specific things. And as you can tell from my title here, is this clarity to the Linux world, or is this a little bit of concern? And you might need your hat today, so make sure you have a hat handy, just in the event that you will need it. Because we're going to dive into what some of the things some people aren't necessarily saying that make me scratch my head and go, I'm not sure I care. Or maybe I do care and I think it's going in the wrong direction. That is some of the points I want to make. So we already said it's a ground up Linux. It's its own complete thing, its own complete package manager, which I tried that and the software store, could not get software installed anyway. It is not based on anything, and like I said, it is optimized for Intel. Why is this? Well, this is where you might need a little bit of your hat. So go ahead and set your hat on for just a second. This is a Linux distribution that is built by the Intel team. Now, we all know that Intel has that exciting little Intel management engine, this little operating system based on Minix that is in everybody's Intel systems that we cannot turn off. And a lot of people say, is this some backdoor? So here is now, on top of having this backdooriness, now we're having that very company that made that system, that has this proprietary lockdown operating system running on all these Intel computers, now coming out and saying, here is a Linux distribution. So you can take our hats off at this point in time, take with that information what you will. So, that being said, as Infinity Galactic indicated in his video, what makes this distribution something that the reason he compares this so much to Ubuntu is it kind of came out of absolutely nowhere, and now they have the manuals, they have the website, they have all this stuff. But when I'm looking over this system, there's some things that concern me. Number one, Looking at their website, it is very clear their website is super, super ultra corporate. Now on this homepage, you don't really see. You see just some basic things, you know, basic softwares. We have cloud controls. What are the simple features? This page is very good and basically has the information. Now, where we dive into this, if we go into the About page, I have seen this building websites several times where we'll be working on some huge corporate organization's website and some marketing hack wrote their content, and I have literally sat down and read the content. I have comprehended every word, and I have not a faintest clue what in the world they're trying to say. And when I start seeing this, I see some system that is trying to be biz speak, I'll call it. It's trying to be more than it is. It's trying to utilize the psychology of some of the tools and the resources. We see it a lot. Where's that page I saw it the most? It's literally talking about what the, that's not where I wanted to go. Here's our documentation. Oh, it was on our software tab. We'll get to it. So again, we have our documentation. You can tell that this is written by a computer company because all the documentation is here, and this is like, if you've may have heard me tell this Microsoft joke, right? So there's this helicopter pilot. He's in training, right? So he's flying over Seattle airspace, really foggy, rainy day like usual in Seattle. All right. And so they're flying around. We got the guy that's learning. We have the instructors in the helicopter. All of a sudden, all the helicopter navigation goes out. All the lights go out. Everything shorts out. Nothing works in the helicopter. They're still flying. So the trainee's like, I don't know what to do. I just have no idea what I need to do here, right? And so all of a sudden, the instructor takes the handles at the helicopter, and he sees this big meeting going on in some building. So they fly fairly close, they grab some paper, and they pen up, "Where am I?" And the people in the boardroom grab a big poster, and they write down all over, and they hold up a sign. It says, "You are in a helicopter." 5 minutes later, they're safely on the ground at the airport, and the co-pilot looks at the pilot and says, "How in the world did you get us back from that poster?" He says, "I knew that had to be the Microsoft building. Only computer engineers would give us information that's completely accurate and totally useless." And if you read through this documentation, this is totally accurate and completely useless. We get a lot of information about here's our getting started, pre-install, looking down at the guides. So this is actually the documentation. This is literally all the documentation for their package manager. They even say it manages replacing apt or yum by installing bundles rather than packages. And you go through here, they don't tell you at all how to install anything. I kind of stumbled through and figured it out. Of course, everything failed. Here, they're just focusing so much on this auto update stuff. We're going to get into that in a minute. But this is literally what's supposed to be their package manager. This is all of the information that they have. And I found that it was completely useless. There's not a word in here that's comprehensible English, although it's technically completely correct. So here is the software. You will find that they do have a variety of software available. The things you might find in Solus, even as that is more curated. We can see that we have the bundle, which is basically the way Linux is doing packages. We also have flat packs for several of these as well. So if you, however you like them, flat packs, some bundles, some of them you will have both, like Blender. Some of them, only one of them, like Audacity, will only be a flat pack. We'll get to the downloads in a moment. And then, of course, this is where we get the deep corporateness. So here we're referencing all these stacks. So data analytics reference stack. I literally read this paragraph 5 times. I haven't a clue what they're talking about. But they're talking about this. This is all this stack, which makes everything work. I'm looking at this going, every operating system has this. So we get this type of information. Maybe I just misunderstand. I don't know. But when I see what they're doing on the website, I see something that they've thrown so much corporate money behind it. That makes me concerned. All right. And in the distribution itself, why I'm a little bit more concerned about this is there's a few interesting things. Number one is they have telemetry. Now, their telemetry, in theory, looks only for kernel crashes and things like this. It is disabled. Well, excuse me, it's not disabled by default. In the installer, it gives you the option to enable it. You have to go through a telemetry screen where you check on or check off telemetry. And then it does have all this telemetry stuff. It always gathers the report, and if telemetry has been disabled, it deletes the report. If telemetry has not been disabled, then it sends the report on. That's an interesting feature. Why, if you say don't collect telemetry, why does it collect the report to begin with? That's an interesting question I would have. The second thing is that you know on this channel that I talk about being responsible with your things, and that means you don't just push an update just because there's an update. A lot of things break when you do that, and a lot of times we don't have the ability. This system, by default, auto-updates everything. It's like Windows. It auto-updates everything out of the box. You can disable that feature, but out of the box, it auto-updates everything. It is a rolling distribution, so it's always going to be the latest features. And if you even watch that video on their homepage, they talk about how, you know, you're going to miss out on these great features. I don't want the features to change in the software. So it raises questions for me. So ultimately for me, I find the system to be, their website is very corporate. Even in the OS itself, it's very corporate. You pull up the thing and on the bottom, it'll have, you know, Clear Linux, the logo, and there's a little star on that thing, and there's a little asterisk down to the bottom to literally indicate, it's like a legal disclosure. Other things may be the property of other entities. It's weirdly corporate to me. Now, getting on to the download, if you want to test it out. Like I said, if you want to test it out, you have to be using VirtualBox 6. Since I couldn't get that running, I ended up just burning it to an ISO, kicking out my drive in my IC dock, and running it over there. I wanted to get stuff installed, give it a better test. I couldn't get anything installed on the system. So that's kind of where I was left. But if you are looking at this, you grab the full one here. This is the one that I was actually using for testing. Now, if you check the documentation for installing it in VirtualBox, it will tell you to grab the VirtualBox one. There is a VMware, but there is not a VirtualBox image in this system. You will see that there are some, a variety of them for different items as well. Here's an IoT Edge single node. So there's definitely some corporate applications. This is definitely a Linux system that's not necessarily geared towards the desktop home user. It's more geared towards a very specific corporate application integrating AI features. It's one of the things in the systems, cloud, Azure, all these kinds of things. So is it entirely bad? No. Is it something that's going to take over the Linux desktop? Absolutely not. I don't see this as a desktop Linux. I see it as a fringe system Linux, something for more just more of a corporate environment or specific niche applications. It's basically like I run an Ubuntu server or a Debian server if I'm building out servers from scratch. That's kind of what my take is. So looking everything over, I'm going to lean back just because there's so many other Linux distributions that are much more closer to the free and open source world. I don't want a Linux system built and run by Intel who has produced this IME that they will not release the code to the open source communities. That is a serious concern, and that's a question we should ask before we start highly recommending Clear Linux. Those are my thoughts. You know, maybe I'm too tinfoil hatty. I mean, I do have a tinfoil hat over here. But that being said, those are my thoughts about this. What are your thoughts? And I would definitely encourage you, download a copy, experiment with it, play with it a little bit. Test it out on both systems. It does apparently work very well with Intel. It is optimized for Intel, which is a good thing, I think. So it's neat that it's an option. I'm not dissing it at all. It's just that there's enough things in here that make me concerned that I will not recommend it necessarily for somebody switching to Linux for the reason I personally have switched to Linux. That's my thought. Let me know your thoughts. And if you guys really want to see what the distribution looks like, I'll see if I can get a virtual machine. Maybe I can throw Manjaro over here and get the virtual machine running over there better. So with that being said, thanks for coming along. Leave me your comments. Is this good? Is this bad? Do you fall on this is Linux clarity or this is Linux concern? Let me know in the comments down below. Please keep it civil. All right. So that's our first section. If you jumped on later, that was our first news clip, or our first running clip. We are also, stick around, we are going to be doing an introduction, what's that? I don't know. We're doing an introduction to GnuCash in a few moments. I just want to go into the comments. Recognize 2 super chats. Rudy LaPlane, thank you. YouTube for vids. Can one skip Fedora 29 to 30 from 28? I do not know if Fedora even has an upgrade path. I know most people that run Fedora and upgrade, most of them just take a copy of the home folder, save that separate, wipe the drive, install the new Fedora, and drop the home folder in. I think they do provide upgrade paths. You'll have to check the documentation if they will allow you to do that. My guess is they won't. And I've done the same thing with Linux Mint. If you're on, 18.3, you might need to go to 19.0 before you go to 19.1. That would not be too uncommon. So I think that that's probably the case, is they would upgrade path you to 29 and then upgrade path you to 30. Most people, though, running Fedora that I know of, I think, will actually just take their home folder with their system configurations, grab your files, wipe the drive, reinstall the new Fedora, and drop everything back in. That's how fast it is to do stuff on Linux anyway. So thank you for that super chat, Rudy. And we had another super chat up here. Droid8613, throwing some support your way. We need a switch to Linux distro. I do not want to build a switch to Linux distro because there are too many distros out there already. I'm going to tell you right now, go to Linux Mint Cinnamon. That is my favorite distribution, and I have a variety of different videos about theming any desktop environment that you want. If you need to know how to put a different desktop environment on Linux Mint, I'd be glad to tell you that. Or, check out Manjaro, check out something else that runs the distribution desktop environment that you like. I'm not a big stickler for what distro you pick. I just want you to try some and learn a little bit. Thank you for the super chat. I just don't want to create a Linux distro because there's too many Linux distros out there. And there's people that are much better at that stuff than I am anyway. So, Dark Crystal Linux, oh boy. Bookshelf, look about ready to give up. Yeah, that bookshelf's in sad shape. Hey man, I bought that thing from a secondhand store for like 15 bucks. And while it does actually lean to the side, if you watch my other channel where I do videos right in front of it, it does actually lean a little bit. It's actually very stable. I've actually secured it with some boards, solid boards that aren't particle board. Although I am worried about that top shelf might give away sometime. Absolutely. Sure to install Homebrew, learn the basic commands. All right. Never heard of Clear Linux. I'm a bit out of the loop. I never really heard of it until people started asking me to look at it a couple weeks ago. First time poster. Hello, Ian. Well, thank you for coming along, Ian. Everybody say hello to Ian. Okay, yes. Occasions where I'm watching and staring at the shelf and Tom fades in the distance. Yeah, oh boy, the shelf. I didn't realize the shelf was so... The shelf is a meme on this channel, I'm telling you. Clear Linux, then Dark Crystal Linux. There you go. Oh, boy. Greetings from Scotland. Well, hello, Scotland. Greetings. All right. Okay, Dark Crystal Linux. Is that a thing? Can't keep track of all these distros. Yeah. I've never heard of a Dark Crystal Linux, but maybe we need one. Tempted to try Void, but lack of AUR is putting me off. All right. Needs to be Counterpoint Clear Linux. Murky Linux. Wonderbar. Then you can easily switch distros, test new ones without any risk of stepping on your real hardware. Yep. Got my tinfoil underwear at the ready. All right. Should I switch my Arco Linux for this one? Hello, kitty. Oh, come on up. Oh. Kitty, come up, say hi. Oh. All right. Just don't get rid of my notes, kitty, because I need those. All right. Should I switch my Arco Linux to this one? Still can't find my best. If you have not found your best Linux distribution, then for sure continue looking for a Linux distribution that you like. I don't know. Give it a try. Give it a try. It might be for you, man. It might be for you at all. See if you can get software installed on it. I was not able to, but... Okay. Arch Linux is still the best. Ubuntu and others can't touch it. Can Clear surpass it? I personally, I don't know. I don't know. Thing is, they optimize the compilers hard into Clear Linux to boost performance. No alien probing here. Yeah. Mentioning Clear Linux may be running on Intel hardware. I should probably include one successfully to be funny. There you go. Yeah. Miss Ubuntu GNOME and had its own PPA for backports. Does anyone know if one can skip Fedora? I think we already addressed that question. I like Arch because I need no PPA. There you go. Hello, Anarita. Greetings. Is Toss here? Toss? Did I miss Toss being here? Toss, you got your caddy ready? All right. Okay. Oh, there's a super chat from Paul, I believe. I will get down to that in just a moment. Thank you for that. Intel wouldn't need their own distro to take advantage of management engine for nefarious purposes. Yep. Yeah, I'm just concerned they might be trying to do other things too. I might have to break down and try Arco sometime. Clear Linux, the distro of choice for the NSA. Alright, let's see. Might use straight Arch. Back up my system every week. Linux is based it on Gen 2. Distro would feature the kitty and named Phi Linux. I'll call it Iron Linux. How's that? Really like to replace Ubuntu with Arcos. Okay, let's see. Once installed Debian with Cinnamon, just say I did it. Yeah, that's good. I'm actually, my Arch Linux right now runs Cinnamon right now. I have Cinnamon, GNOME, and Deepin on it right now, although I run it Cinnamon most of all. I like Deepin, but it gets annoying after a while. Why is Clear Linux? I think Clear Linux, one of the reasons I think is to specifically build a Linux distribution that is perfectly streamlined for Intel. And maybe just get something else, kind of like Microsoft Linux. All these big companies are trying to get their own Linux stuff. I think it's part of a backdoor conspiracy to get rid of Linux. Wow, I can't do Alex Jones well. Excuse me. Find any mention of it? Yeah, it's like brand new. What should be the best non-Ubuntu based distro from Ryzen 5? I mean, I've had good luck with Manjaro on AMD. Arch Fanboy. Did I miss another super chat? I don't think I did. There's one more down the bottom. I didn't get to Paul's yet. I'll get there. Updates, I had to disable Firefox updates and Update Manager. I'll tell you, the latest Firefox update, I just put it on Arch last night. Oh, I hate it. Firefox is just becoming this bane of sanity. It's becoming stupid. Now they force this little icon up in the corner like Chrome does with, this is your Firefox login account. Excuse me. No, I'm not giving my personal data to Firefox. Jeez. Firefox, like, we need another web browser that's not Chrome based and not Firefox. All right. Oh, I missed that one there. Give the shelf its own camera. I should give the shelf its own camera. Sorry, Kitty, you've been replaced. Kitty's like, dude, I've been replaced. Your parents somewhat. What do you think about OpenSUSE for a home user? I've only ran that. I ran OpenSUSE for a month. It was about 2 years ago. I actually liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Now I used it on Enlightenment, which I don't think it is. I don't think they support that desktop anymore. I enjoyed the time. One of the things I really like about OpenSUSE is with the way Yast works. it will hold your hand, but at the same time you learn a lot. So I think OpenSUSE is one of the better Linux distros to learn more about under the hood of Linux. So that's kind of cool. Getting old to switch to Linux distros. At 40 years old, I want to boot PC, start it, and shut it down. Yep. Corporate wonks love that proprietary spyware-ish poo-poo in their software. Yep. Door's broken enough. Don't jump on releases, especially because of DNF and systemd integration. If PS4 is built on FreeBSD, everyone has trouble gaming on Linux. Why not try FreeBSD? I would figure FreeBSD would probably be worse, but I don't know. All right. Okay. If Dora has no LTS kernel, I kind of need that. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that PS4 is built on FreeBSD. That's pretty sweet. Appreciate it. Thanks. Hey, no problem, man. No problem. As part of things come out. Such an awesome distro. Peppermint 2. Linux Mint's coming out with a new logo for Linux Mint 19.2. I think I have seen it. Those heavy books on the lower bookshelf. Nah. It'll just be more epic when it breaks someday, you know? Guys that just jumped on are like, why is there a camera on a bookshelf? Because the bookshelf is more popular than the cat on this channel, apparently. I don't know. Let's see a vote. What's more popular on this channel? The bookshelf or the cat? Bookshelf or the cat? Fishy intentions, Linux, yeah. Turner Parents, what's distro? Okay. Garfield here. Greetings. Hello there. Def a fan, Peppermint, made me a believer. Yep, Peppermint's awesome. See, it's getting impatient with the lack of treats. Uh-oh. The CJ's digital girl's watching him. All right, I got to put CJ on the camera then again. Quicker to lean out Arcus than to build Arch. Yeah, that's the thing. Same with Arch Labs. You know, you get an Arch system without having to fight it all. I can't give you an objective opinion about Brave Browser. I don't like the company behind it. Some people really like it. Some people really don't. I don't. Mostly because I'm not a fan of the company behind it. But, you know, ask in the comments. Let people tell you their opinion. And as always, give it a try for yourself. Okay. Zone for the Arca. You need to know Arch. Okay. Firefox is supposed to be more privacy respecting than other browsers. How true is that? I don't think it is at all. I think that Firefox is just as bad as Chromium these days. You know, they're doing too many little goofy things. Ooh, we're gonna test Pocket on X number of users, and it's gonna, you know, give you recommendations based on your browsing history. That's problematic, yo. That's problematic. Although the thing about Firefox is you can easily turn a lot of that stuff off if you know how to. Learn something every day. Well, thank you. WaterFox for me still rocks. Yep. I don't care if it's versions behind. I don't care. Okay, so we have one for the kitty, one for shelf. We have one for the cat, another for the cat. The cat. I shot some content the other night. Need a little editing. All right, another cat. Another cat. Okay, kitty. You're not completely replaced. People still love you more than the bookshelf. They just also really like the bookshelf, apparently. All right. Got a distro NX Linux. Yeah. Cat's more popular, of course. I've had a few people lately, the cat's distracting. Dude, I don't know. I'd tell them, though, just watch the edited versions. All right. The Bible, it's the Bible, period, everything over. All right. Okay. How's everyone's OCD going with the shelf cam? Mine's being triggered big time. Kitty cam is more soothing, right? He was a lazy cat. He didn't move most of the day. And tell me what they think of the best Linux distro for beginners. It's new to Linux and lost my Windows partition, so now it's Linux or nothing. Linux Mint Cinnamon. Absolutely. It's going to be so easy to transition from Windows to Linux Mint Cinnamon. Cat took Kip K's cat Tux's place and ripped. Uh-oh. Difference between Fedora and Fedora Core OS. I'm not a huge Fedora guy. I can't remember the difference. Okay. Shell was driving you nuts. Okay, Firefox must have hired some new talent that wasn't that talented, yeah. Or they're just like, Chromium's taking over. Let's do everything Chromium's doing. It's like following Apple down the cliff. Like, meh, 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 lemmings. Meh, 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 meh. The bookshelf lovers are in the minority. All right. Dog for herself, but the cat's fine. All right. I'm going to go ahead and we will be... stick around, guys. We are going to be jumping into the GnuCash section now. I need to start the virtual machine, but before I start the virtual machine, I need to move my banners around a little bit. So give me a second to move my banners. All right, introduction to GnuCash. And let me go ahead and boot up our virtual machine. Both. Cat makes stream more appealing. Not saying that's Tom. You know. Browsers have evolved into trying to be almost an entire OS. Yes. Right. Do you think of those... Whoa. My apologies for that loudness. What did you think of those Apple privacy commercials I sent you? Did I watch them? I'm not sure, Steve, if I watched them. Did you send them on email? I am so far behind on emails right now, it's not even funny. All right, I think I am queued up and set to dive on into our GnuCash section. So let's go ahead and get queued up for that. Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we're going to start a little series on GnuCash. So anytime throughout this series, leave me some comments in the video if you need to know how to handle some basic things in GnuCash. So today, we're going to have a little bit shorter videos, several shorter videos. So today we're just going to basically go into some basic use applications. We're going to do an overview of the application and then just begin by setting up the basic information that you need for getting your accounts. Now, before we dive into this, the absolute far most commonly asked question is how can you import your data from QuickBooks? Now, there is an official thread on the GnuCash website somewhere about this. They say they do not have plans to integrate it unless somebody can get them information about how that file type that QuickBooks parses. It is a proprietary format, and there is really not a seriously good way to do that. Now, that being said, there are some third-party tools, and GnuCash's website does have links to those. I will try to find those and put them in the description if I can. They are all unofficial, and basically it looks like you need to go into QuickBooks and you need to export your various lists, convert your lists, and then import them in. So of course, all of these accounting softwares work on a variety of lists and a variety of count setups. And that's kind of what we're looking at. So the files are fairly small, and it's mostly a lot of XML type data and similar type things. Now, GnuCash, if you are unaware, this is something that you would use to manage the finances in a full business, not necessarily personal finance. Although you could use it for personal finance, there's probably simpler applications for that. But for me, I run a couple businesses. My old primary business, which is over a decade old now, still uses QuickBooks because I still have a functioning Windows computer that was completely tied to all of that business stuff, and that's what I've been using. Since I started doing the content creation stuff, the YouTube channels, writing books, I have a separate business attached to all of that stuff, and I use GnuCash exclusively for that. So I'm experienced in both of those. In addition, I do my own books rather than passing it off to a bookkeeper. and then I get my information out to your accountant. So let's go ahead and talk about that next point as well. Some of the accountants that you might have will be like, hey, give me a backup of your QuickBooks file. I tell them why. You need a P&L. Now, as long as you are setting up your business correctly, all he should need is his P&L, and maybe he might have some questions for you about how to set things up. So we're going to go ahead and dive over to this. So what I did is we're going to be doing this on my Linux Mint 19 virtual machine. And I just installed GnuCash, and I didn't do anything with it yet. Now I installed this as a flat pack. And the reason is the repo for Linux Mint will have, I think it still has version 2x whatever in there. It might be up to 3 by now. The flat pack is version 3.2, which is the latest version. And so I wanted to do this tutorial series on the latest version. So when you launch it up, you have a tip of the day. This has a variety of different tips in here. You can go through forward and backward. You can turn these on or turn these off at startup. I'm just going to go ahead and disable this. So right now, since I do not have any company, if you already have a company, it's going to automatically open up to the company you already have created. And so with this, it opens as blank just because it's, you know, we just started the application. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we are going to create a new company. So we'll hit new file. We also have an import function here as well. There's a variety of other tools. We will talk about what these different tools are as we go through. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and do a brief overview of those, and then we'll go ahead and create the company. So on your file menu, one of the things is your properties is going to give you some basic information here. We're going to fill out all of this information after we create our new company. Because we don't want to just start with something completely blank, we're going to use the wizard to get us kind of started. Otherwise, it's going to take us a long time, and the wizards are pretty good. So here we have the ability to export a variety of different things. And under our edit option here, the edit preferences is going to apply to pretty much whatever window you have open. That's going to make more sense to you in a few moments. Under your actions, this is where you can look at a variety of different things. You can attach your online bank accounts to this. I have never experimented with that. I don't like to do that. I do everything manually, intentionally. Here's budgets. If you're setting certain budgets and things, you can do that. Under your business, this is where you will find your customers, you will find your vendors, you will find your employees. More the difference. A customer is anyone who you're doing work, providing products, services to, they're going to be paying you. A vendor are the people that are giving you your supplies, maybe your services, maybe your office supplies. You're going to be paying them money. Of course, your employees are the people who are doing work for you. So you can track all of this stuff. Now, in my case here, as I do authoring and as I'm launching a publishing company, I'm using customers for either A, the direct supporters who support me on Patreon or Think Life Media. I'm using them for all of the different sources that are sending me royalties. For vendors, these are just the places. So like United States Postal Service was a vendor for me because I ship a lot of packages. You know, Walmart where I buy paper or envelopes, packing supplies. Amazon is a great place to buy your packing supplies. So those are set up as vendors for me. And I'm using employees. I'll be using those when I need to hire. If I need to hire employees or subcontractors, I'll be using it for that. I also will use this for any future authors that I have to pay out royalties. You can do sales tax tables in here as well. One of the things you will notice that is missing that QuickBooks has that GnuCash does not is they do not presently have a way to have product inventory. That is very sad to me, or like a customer, a price list, really. Now, what the saving grace it has is that it has an amazing autofill. So you just start autofilling whatever it happens to be, and it will autofill with the latest options. But on QuickBooks, I can go in, I can create, this is my price list. I go in to create an invoice and I say, you know, one backup service, it autofills in the price, the categories, all that kind of stuff. This doesn't have the option to do that, which is a little sad. It is a requested feature, but they still have not acted in putting it in yet. Very sad. Under reports, this is where you find all of your different things that your accountants are going to need. We have assets and liabilities. We have our budgets. We have our business. I believe income and expenses, where you're going to get your P&L. You can get your cash flows, your prices, I think by customer. No, customers are down here in business. Simple and custom. This is actually one we're going to be using. I actually just discovered this tab recently, and this is so much more useful than I ever gave it credit for. We'll not be covering it in this video, but we will be looking at it sometime soon. How to reconcile, save report configurations is also very handy. Here's various tools. The price database, this kind of deals with stocks and securities and exchanges. I really wish that you could set this up as with products as well. It just won't let you. I know, I've tried. And then there's loan repayments, things like that. Now, if you are using an older version of GnuCash, journal entry, I think, is under business. They've moved it under tools in the latest version. So this is the latest version as of the time I'm recording this. Then we can just have, you know, windows and things like that. So that's your basic overview of what you have inside of here. So we're going to go ahead and create a new company. Rather than just build this out completely blank, I want to create a new file. We're going to continue without saving because I don't want to save anything in that. So here is where we're going to set up the account. This is the closest we have to a wizard. It actually functions fairly well like the QuickBooks one does. Hit our next, and then we can use trading accounts. We can use split accounts for field numbers. Default budget. If I built a budget in, we can add a budget later. I have not actually experimented with budgets, although as I'm looking at doing some advertising type stuff, that's something I'm going to be implementing into my personal accounts very soon. Let's do company name here. So we'll call this, let's call this our new corp. And with our new corp, then we want to give it an address. Let's just call this 123 Main Street. And if you guys didn't know this, Franklin is the most common city name in the world, in the United States at least. Some people think it's Springfield. It is actually Franklin. Let's just say Franklin, PA, because I'm in PA, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although Franklin, PA does exist, and it doesn't have that zip code, but oh well. Okay, so who is our company contact person? Of course, switched to Linux will be our personal company phone number. What's my phone number? 123-456-7890. That is really my phone number, guys. I mean, don't spam me, please. Company fax number, if you have one. What's our email address? email@email.com is my email address, of course. Website. We're going to call this ournewcorp.com, and we don't really need a company ID. Tax tables, vendor tax tables. We can change these later if we need to, and then formatting for date, we can use custom. We can just kind of pick, here's like the US. If you're in Europe or UK, you can grab one of those. So just grab one of these guys here, or you can create the formatting yourself. You can include the century if you want. Numbers, or you can do abbreviations, or you can do names. So whatever you want. I generally like to use numbers. You can see what the bottom is down there. Actually, I don't know. This is pretty nice too. Let's just go ahead and stick with abbreviations. Okay, so we also have under counters. Now, this is where if you start out a company with nothing in here, you know, you'll start out, you never really want to issue a bill with number 1. So you go into open a personal bank account here in the United States. They give you check 101. If you open a business account, they give you a check 1001 is the first one. We never really want to start with that. So the bill number, and hover over each of these, previous bill number generated, this number will be incremented to generate the next bill number. So I'll just do kind of some random numbers down here. So customer number, I'm going to pick like 3 for the vendor, employee, and customer numbers. Let's do 4 for that. These are not, it's really the only reason we're doing this is just so that it's harder to track from an outsider's perspective. We don't want somebody to think they're the very first person to ever have this invoice, you know. So we're just going to put in some things in that way as you cycle and increment up whatever else, we're going to do that. So US currency, of course, pick your currency, whatever it happens to be. We are United States where I'm doing this tutorial. So that is what we're going to do next. So choose accounts to create. This is why we wanted to run through this thing. We could have done everything else without a problem, but this here will actually create all of the different accounts that we want. So you can come in here and you can do, a simple checkbook if you're doing this for personal. Here's like a business accounts. So the business accounts, here's cash in your wallet, checking, savings account. There's equities, opening balances. So you might create a new one of these every year, carrying your older balances in for the newer balances. Here's just some basic information in there. We can do, let's see, here's a car loan, child care expenses. So there's a variety of different things that you can pick inside of this. Let's go ahead and clear all, and then we don't want to do that. Clear all. Let's just do our business accounts. We will always want to be doing some fine tweaking and things. Set up these selected accounts. I'm going to go ahead and make this guy a little bit bigger here. All right, so this is where we want to select what type of accounts do we actually want to use. So anything that we leave out here, let's see, I got to remember if this is going to create the accounts or if it's just going to set them up. So I'm just going to look through here and what types of things do we want to set up. The more that you have, the better. The bigger the breakdown for your accountant, the better off we're going to be. So in my case here, the only ones that I would include here are internet. Everything else for me, I take a percentage deduction out of my home office. The phone is a 50% deduction out because it's half business, half phone, but internet is, I can write off 100% of that for my personal business. All right, so travel and entertainment. This is an interesting category that you want to separate. Now, these used to be together under US law. You used to be able to write out 50% of your meals and entertainment. As of this past year, 2019 taxes, you can no longer write off, I think it's actually 2018, can't remember. One of those 2 years, 18 or 19, you can no longer write off anything by entertainment. You can only write off meals. So you absolutely want to make sure that you are separating your meals and your entertainment if you're doing personal type stuff. Over here, depending on whether what type of taxes you need to do, like if you have employees and things out of your business, you're going to need to do FICA. In my case, since I run as a sole member LLC, I do not have to do that. That gets taken out separate. If you were to own your buildings and you have to pay for repairs, you can do that. Rent is something that I can tackle down, although I do not. Professional fees, I do hire an accountant, so that I want to have that one as well. Postage and delivery, printing and reproduction. I don't do payroll expenses at this point in time. Outside services, office supplies. I don't like using miscellaneous categories. They're too flaggable for the IRS. So I make sure everything fits somewhere other than miscellaneous. Miscellaneous raises too many red flags. All right, licenses and permits. Where I started my company, we had to have business licenses. Where I live now, we don't, so I leave those out. Insurances, you can include or exclude those. Education, dues and subscriptions. I don't need dining. I don't do basic depreciation. I do the front end depreciation instead. Charity, books, bank service charges, and then anything else you might need, just go ahead and select. So those are those ones there. So accounts, let's do an accounts receivable. We might need to add an accounts payable to it. So all we're basically doing here is checking which accounts that we want to use and get completely set up from the get-go. All right, there's also ones for income as well. Here's maybe interest. There's other sales, things like that. Oh, here's our accounts payable. There it is. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit next and apply. Now, when this is done, it's going to have us save the file somewhere. We're just going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to create a new folder. And we're going to call this GnuCash. And why that wanted to change that to that is because of the system that I had. We're just going to call this our new corp and save. Now what that's going to do is that's going to save the file and our documents and our GnuCash, and our file is this one here. So we have a .GnuCash file. Literally all you need to do is have a copy of this file to transfer your books, although doing it through the backup in the software would be better. So now we are on our main screen here. Let me see what else I want to look at. I think what we're going to do is, I don't want to go any longer than this video's already been, so we're going to wrap it up here. So the next one, we're going to come up into business. We're going to create customers, vendors, employees, and show you how to use the invoices, the jobs, and things like that. So just briefly here, you can see that what we have set up here, we have our variety of different accounts are set up. So maybe next time we'll go in and talk a little bit more about what each of these are, but I think we might actually wait until we have invoices set up to get this stuff figured out. So this is just a start. Now, of course, if you need to add a new bank account after this, you want to hit the create a new account here. And with this screen here, you're going to determine is it an income or an expense account. And then from here, let me expand this guy out if I can. You can see a little bit better. So you can create a new top level account, or you can put it under each of these. So based upon which one of these top heading categories you have, you'll have a variety of different account types you can pick from. You can see income, we'll have income or expenses. Under our expenses, we'll have those. Under our assets, we can have a bank account, cash account, credit cards, liabilities, stocks, mutual funds. Under liabilities, we can also have the same. And then you just create the accounts, create the code, make sure that there's one of these, I think which one of them is absolutely required. You'll figure it out if you do it. You can also delete an account over here, and then you can also edit any given account that you're on just by clicking the edit button at the top. So there's a brief overview to the creating your account. Next time we will go over looking at how to create the customers, the jobs, the invoices, the vendors, and things like that. So again, let me know the types of things you need to know how to do in this in the comments on any one of the videos in this playlist, and we will get to those. So thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you thought about this. Do you use GnuCash? Are you concerned about using it? Let me know in the comments down below. All right. Close that. Shut down our virtual machine so I can move my comments back over here. See, everyone came for Clear Linux and left when we started talking about GnuCash. No fair to GnuCash, right? All right. Okay. GnuCat. Yep. Attempt to try Linux 19.1 with 6 gigs RAM. I don't have to stick with lightweight distros. Yep. GnuCash. Yep. Best. Dad always adopted dogs from the shelter. Need to watch. Do we need HTTPS to watch YouTube, really? Yes. The reason is, if you don't, you could be having man-in-the-middle injection attacks. It's actually quite possible. Okay. Internet is morbidly obese these days, though. I gotta say, that's completely true. Google first came on the scene billions of years ago. They took over the internet because it was ad-free and people couldn't buy top spots on the search. Results, they couldn't be on the other. Art of music, yes. Use GnuCash since early. I don't remember. Since deleting Windows, I only use GnuCash. Talk about GnuCash. Any thoughts on actual bank accounts? Are Ally or others good, or local credit unions the way to go? Okay, let me tell you something. I did the incorporation documents because I'm creating a full-fledged publishing company. And so with all of that, I wanted to get accounts at different banks. So I looked at different places. Hands down, absolutely, unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, the credit union is always the best to go. If you have the option to go to the credit union, you always do that. The reason is a credit union is a nonprofit. All of their profits go back into benefits for their members, right? So I have at the credit union that I have, every account that you have, they tie to a savings account that always has $5 in it at the minimum. All right. And in fact, you can't spend into that $5. It's kind of funny. But their interest rate is higher than I can get for a money market at any of the other banks in town with $10,000. That's incredible. The only other place that I have a bank that is as good is I still have a bank out west that is tied to some of my other accounts. And those banks also have a really high interest rate because it's in a very wealthy state. And it's a small community bank. So you always go in pecking order. You always open a credit union first. If a credit union is not available, you go to a small local community bank. If that's not available, then you go to a bigger regional bank. If that's not available, then you go up to a national bank. Now, the disadvantage is your online platforms are not going to be nearly as good. They're oftentimes a little bit more buggy, not as robust, and of course, depending, like my credit union has associations with all the other credit unions, so I could probably find an ATM anywhere that will not charge me to use their ATMs. But it's going to be a lot harder versus the regional bank that I have for my personal stuff. There are literally like 30 different locations. I could be at any end of my city and there's going to be a bank within a mile or two, which to me is staggeringly odd, but that's what it is. Now, we don't have a lot of the huge nationals here. You generally find those in the big cities, but nearly any bank you can do online banking with. And that's another one you can look at as well. Because you oftentimes, if you do like an online only bank, oftentimes you get really good services with those as well. So you want to just do your homework and research it, but always look at your credit unions first. Way better benefits on credit unions, in my opinion. So that's my thought on that. App Cache is a great feature. GnuCash available from portable apps platform on Windows. Yeah, I think you can get it on Windows and Mac, if I remember. Turn to evil, turn to the king of ads. Yeah. Can GnuCash be integrated with Emacs? I do not know. So there are synaptic packages for GUI. Yeah, we need an open source browser. Like, Firefox is technically an open source browser, but yeah, we need an open source browser. Hello, Benjamin. Greetings. How are you? Privacy-based browser should be the rule rather than the exception. Check it out. All right. Missed the clear Linux part. Yep. You need to go back to text-based web or at least clean it up and simplify it. Yeah. I kind of agree. So designed for home personal. Yeah, I don't see it designed for home or personal. Although I mean, it does say it has a desktop version, but different distros for different purposes. Yeah, I agree. Linux for corporate wonks. Your manager at work who talks business speak will like it. Your manager at work who talks business speak will understand their website. I mean, really. Okay. Intel owned a Linux distro. I mean, that's going to, if there's anything else that's going to cause a divide, that's it. I mean, really. 73 watching, only 33 likes. Yeah, man. Gotta go. Later, hungry guy. Born in one of the many Springfields. I grew up there. Basketball was invented here, and Dr. Seuss was born, and we lived well, but no Simpsons as far as I can tell. But did you have a little corner store with a guy named Abu? Cool, coming in. Okay. Of course, he was banned from Springfield, right? They can't send him out with a witch mob. You know what happened to him, right? Him and Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh are held up in a Unabomber cabin up in Montana somewhere. Yeesh. Oh, boy. Grew up with Intel, been on AMD for a few years now, yeah. Pokemon dollars, my currency. I'm trying to learn plain text terminal-based apps lately. Very cool. That's awesome. Nano's the favorite editor. I personally prefer Nano most of all. I think I hate Atom most of all. Oh, hello, Loafer Wolf. Greetings. Love to do more terminal apps, but I'm afraid my brain is beginning to run out of RAM to remember the keyboard commands other than i3. Whole web browser should be ditched. I've been learning a little bit at a time. We'll say your browser's out of date. Yep. That's, you know, so what if my browser's out of date? I don't care. Display your code. I'd rather a broken website than to not display anything because you think my browser's out of date because you want me to follow the sample and upgrade to the latest stuff. Where's my blowtorch? Boy. IRS agents. Yeah. Use Notion as a Windows manager. Pretty minimal. Kitty is a terminal. Ooh, Kitty. Dude, there's a Kitty terminal on i3. I'm running i3 now. I mean, come on. Yesterday, I'm too old to know anything about computers. I'm 41. Yeah. I'll speak of the devil. Here's the kitty. Hi, you. Hello. How are you? You say hi to peoples? All right. I think K My Money, though, is more of a personal application. So if you're just doing personal banking, K My Money is probably a better bet. GnuCash is very good, but it's very complicated to get set up. It is a little bit more difficult. You can pile a number of windows into a tiled hotkey cycle through them, yeah? So for GnuCash has a good user manual, I suppose. It's pretty good, actually. Yeah, it's decent. Some of the things are a little harder to understand if you don't know the accounting behind it. Like, you're definitely going to benefit more if you know about business accounting. Me personally, I like to do my books. I'm a numbers guy. I like to check status and progress and things like that. And so having that type of personality, then what I like to do is I like to see how the business is doing, see how all the numbers are going, sort and check and see what revenue streams are working, look at the charts. I thrive on that. So I learned how to do business accounting, and then I've had enough different accountants, and actually the kid that I mentor right now, his mom's actually an accountant as well, manages multi-million dollar accounts for Penn State. Also helped me out with learning some of the stuff early on. And then each of the accountants I've used as I moved to different cities, I've hired them out just to learn some more of the basics. And I've always asked them what needs to be organized better, what needs to be organized differently. And so I learned how to do business accounting. And I think it's an awesome skill. So because I know business accounting, it's very easy for me to set up. QuickBooks is easier to set up if you don't know much about that, but still, there's still a learning curve either way. Full-blown distros, Ubuntu, Mint, etc. Pile of mid-weight distros that are great. Yep. First OS was Amga Workbench. All right. Folks learn stuff like BASIC and Fortran. Yeah, BASIC was my first. I did TI BASIC for the calculators, QBasic, and Visual Basic. I actually did a class in Visual Basic. The other ones I taught myself, and I just did a class in C++ as well. Anyone else use Brave? Pale Moon. Yeah, Pale Moon doesn't work with a lot of them. You'll get a lot of, you need to upgrade your web browser. Web standards need to actually be standards. I don't find it as bad nowadays, but one shouldn't have to test their CSS and JS on a ton of browsers to be sure it works correctly. Amen to that, my brother. Speaking from a web developer. No, it's, you know, it's insanely, stupidly ridiculous. Chrome on a Mac. So we did this big project for somebody, and they're like, the submit button's not showing up. We're like, it's showing up for us. We're on Chrome, showing up for us. Tested on Windows, Linux, all over the place. You know, it turned out Mac and Chrome was the beautiful combination. The website on Chrome, on Mac, didn't show the submit button. It was a CSS thing. Safari showed the button on Mac, but Chrome didn't. But Chrome on Windows 10 and on Linux and on Windows 7 and on every other system we tried worked perfectly fine. I don't know. Oh, boy. Okay. All right, let's see. The best driver for unlocking with fingerprint. I don't know. I don't recommend that. Talk to Vim, say the command in your head, or you can say it out loud. All right. Your browser's out of date. Go away. Yeah. Browser's not out of date. Your website is incompatible. Yep. Absolutely. Alright. No blowtorches on live streams. Save the blowtorches for patron-only streams. I decided to... I got a dedicated hard drive to install Linux distribution and had a Windows disk on the same computer. Could that mess stuff up? Alright, so what you want to do is you want to pull the Windows disk out. Now, you don't have to pull the whole disk out of the computer. Just unplug the SATA cable, so the computer doesn't see it's there. Install Linux entirely on that new hard drive, and then plug your Windows hard drive back in. So now you'll have two hard drives plugged in. Each one of the hard drives will have its own operating system and its own master boot record. And then what I do is I use the boot menu in BIOS to select which hard disk I'm going to call for the master boot record, and that will determine whether we are installing into Windows or installing into Linux. All right. If you try and install the Linux with the Windows drive in there, the installer for Linux might overwrite the Windows boot record. It will still have the ability to run Windows, but it's going to mess up the Windows boot record. And if Windows goes back and patches that up, you won't be able to boot Linux. And so if you pull the hard drive for Windows out, install Linux, then put the Windows hard drive back in, they'll leave each other alone. Well, do the Firefox Facebook containers work? I don't know. Took accounting 201 at PSU once. Hey, another PSU guy. Boom. Got my doctor's at PSU. Once or twice. Struggled somehow, even though quantum mechanics I could keep up with. There's always those classes. I couldn't do statistics well. Yeah. Like, I mean, PChem, meh. Calc 2, meh. Statistics, forget about it. Everything's X. Dude, I go into PChem, at least I use the whole alphabet. I mean, sure, they use it in English and then again in Greek, but that's okay. But in statistics, everything's X. Pick another letter. There's 26 of them to pick from, people. I mean, come on. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All I do is collect documents from a business, go to my accountant, and go, there you go, have fun. There you go, yep. People use Nano, kind of like Notepad. Yeah, I like Nano. Nano's mine. Nano's my thing. Hidden WASP malware, found targeting the Linux system. What do you think? I don't know. Send me some info on it. I'd love to look into it. Association with Project Clear Linux and Intel. If so, how do you think it affects users? Yes, at the very, 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 very bottom of the Clear Linux website, you will see that Clear Linux is directly associated with Intel. So that is, for me, one of the reasons I said I'm a little concerned about it. Not necessarily because it's all Intel and I think Intel's necessarily evil. It's that I don't want any big corporation running my Linux distribution. Power supply unit? That's right. Keep an eye on, but I wouldn't worry about it. So far, it seems to be targeted attacks, so there's yet situations developing it. Linux, Clear Linux is literally made by Intel. They made it so some cool tools and software, so as long as it's all FOSS, we are fine. Yeah, there's a few P variables. Yes, that's true. I mean, when I got into doing advanced statistics. I didn't do classes in it, but you have to do advanced statistics with dissertations. So, you know, I had to learn how to do, multivariate ANOVA statistics for my dissertation. That got into some different variables and things like that. So yeah, there's a few others, but in the basic statistics class, that's kind of the case. It is time, guys, for the kitty cam. And so we will feed the kitty, and then we will hang out, do the rest of the comments, and then once we get the comments done, then we will wrap this up. Oh boy, kitty, kitty. Please don't drool on my mouse pad. Go on. Go on. Oh, we got the paw. Go on. Don't drool on my mouse pad. Go on. Go on. You gotta fish it out, man. Don't be lazy. I have the world's laziest cat, apparently. There you go. Here you go. You like that, huh? Yeah, good. And should we do one for this camera over here? Here's one. And here you go. Are they finger licking good? They are finger licking good. They're finger licking good. Yes, they are. Yeah. What do you think, kitty? Is that good? Is that good? All done. All done for the night. All done for the night. Oh, he got his kitty treats. He's like, I got my kitty treats. I'm out of here. He's a fair weather friend indeed. Never had a fair weather friend, much like that cat. Slowly, which Garmin would write a Linux version of Garmin Express Boot Camp? Right. Yeah, I'll have to look at how I can update my Garmin with Linux. I have not updated my Garmin since 2016. I still had a working Windows computer then. I have the Windows 7 too, but some distro exists that has newest packages but is stable. Care about network manager and changes for VPN support. Been sticking LTS Ubuntu. Manjaro, I've had good luck with Manjaro. Some people are saying Manjaro's not as good, not as stable. I've also had good luck on Arch, so I'm still running Arch without any issues. Other than, first issue today is can't seem to get VirtualBox 6 to work. It's calling for the wrong Linux headers, but oh well. We'll figure that out. I'd try out Manjaro, try out Arch Labs. People are saying Arcos Linux is good. Give that. Because Arcos is an Arch-based as well. So give those a try. The other ones, Fedora's becoming better, and OpenSUSE has a... OpenSUSE Tumbleweed is also a rolling, so you might try OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. All right, guys. I think we hit the bottom of the comments. Let's see. We will say goodnight to everyone. Thanks for coming along on this. I will have one of these two edited videos out tonight. I will have the other one out maybe tomorrow morning. And then we will be doing a supporter stream tomorrow night. I may have some topics, but if any of you guys have some other topics that you think would be cool for the candidacies as well, I will decide in the morning what we are going to do. So with that being said, thanks a lot for coming along, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.